In this video, I'm going to talk about an important design choice that you have to make quite early in the process when you're designing a CLT building. Let's jump into the VR view and I'm going to show you. Now, in this case, let's get rid of this one. Here's the structural model of the CLT plates. And you can have either this case here with the floor slabs that they are continuous. So this way it spans over, here's one dwelling and here's another. So the CLT slabs span over several. This is an apartment separating wall and you got a floor slab that goes over two apartments. And then you have the second case here is that you align so that there's a separation, and here comes the next CLT element. So there's a little slice in between them. And this is very important. This is just one of the transmission paths, but the consequence is here that you can either do like in this project where you have continuous slabs that are running between several apartments, and then comes a new one here, and then you got two apartments, so it's always like apartment pairs. If I go up a bit, I might be able to show you one of the CLT plates, a second one, and so on and so on. So every two apartments you get a new CLT plate. And what this means is that you get a more effective mounting process at the construction site. The crane doesn't have to lift as many CLT elements when you're raising the building. Erecting is probably erecting the building. You'll get a faster process with the crane. However, the important thing here with regards to acoustics is that this is a sensitive flanking transmission path. And when you have a continuous CLT element between two apartments like this, that means that sound that is radiated in here can travel and excite this CLT plate, travel through the CLT plate, and then it's radiated here on the other side. And this is a very sensitive flanking transmission path. When you're looking at this type of connection instead, the sound cannot travel like this because there's a slice in here and it's stopped. But if you're going to do like this on every single apartment, you're going to get a lot more CLT elements that the crane will have to lift and mount. So it's going to require a lot more time. So how do you solve this then? Now what you do here is that you have to install a suspended ceiling. Models. Let's take a look at the architectural model here. So in this case, we've added a suspended ceiling. Now we can't see the exact details in this model, but it's one layer of gypsum, and then there's some wooden laths here. I think it's like 22 millimeters of wood, and on those you mount acoustic steel profiles. So this is a suspended ceiling that is somewhat hanging freely, and that way you can significantly reduce this transmission path even when the CLT element is continuous. So it's always like this. It's a compromise. Either you get fewer lifts with a crane, fewer CLT elements, but you will add complexity in the production because you will need this suspended ceiling here. So, and if you want to get rid of the suspended ceiling, it could be it's an architectural and aesthetic choice here, that you might want to have visible wood. Maybe you want to see the wooden texture here in the ceiling. Then you cannot do this at all. If you want visible wood, you have to take this route instead and slice them between every apartment, which has other consequences that you have to take into account. Another benefit is that when you have the continuous slabs like this, you get a stiffer boundary condition here in the junction, which means that you will have less flexibility in this one. They become stiffer, and that can be positive with regards to low frequency sound insulation. And if you have this connection with a slice, it's weaker here, and that can perhaps mean that you will have to increase the thickness of each slab, whereas the continuous slabs can be made somewhat thinner for a given span width. No, and those are some consequences that you have to take into account, and it's very important to know about. The takeaway from this video, I think, should be, if you're working with CLT and designing a building, be very careful about this situation. You do not want to have continuous CLT elements between two dwellings because they are very sensitive to flanking transmission. You have to either separate them, like over there, or you have to cover them behind some other layer with suspended ceilings or otherwise. And this rule is valid in not just the horizontal direction, but you also have to consider it in the vertical direction. But that's a topic of another video. So let's get out from VR. Yes, and in today's video I'm wearing something that I really like, burgundy and gray, which is always a great match. I pair it with a little pocket square with green, blue, dark blue, and then I pick up with some bright pants. So a dark shirt, that's a little more daring choice, but if you got a dark shirt, you could be better off with a brighter color, a lighter color on your jacket, and a brighter color on the pants, because this gives a good proper contrast. I pair it with also dark brown leather, silver watch, and some blue socks, and then you got the blue once again here. See you later.